Shot scores! Just like that, the Bulls have taken the lead.
Jake Worrad missing a month, I mean, anytime that happens, it can certainly change things, but an immediate impact when you came back in that game against Ottawa. You've had a couple games under your belt. How are you feeling after probably one of the longest injuries you've ever had?
Yeah, it was definitely unfortunate when I got injured back there in December, and to be able to come back this month has been huge. I mean, that has been my goal, to get back as soon as I could, and to be able to come back against Ottawa and get a goal right away definitely gets a monkey off the back and gets the ball rolling once more.
You guys are pushing towards that playoff race, and I mean, getting an eighth would be a huge step for this team, especially the youth that's on it for yourself. What is the expectation for your game? What do you feel you need to contribute, this being the one of the last hurrahs?
Yeah, well, definitely this is it for me. This is my last kick at the can, and we got a young team, and we're battling right now. I mean, a lot of similarities between this year and my first year here in Belleville when we played Ottawa in the first round of playoffs. I mean, we're striving to make playoffs. We're in a hunt for it, and I think we have a real genuine shot at making that. So me as an old guy, it's just I'm there for the young guys, trying to set an example for them and be able to build our team from the back end up, and I think things will fall into place that way.
Is it weird when you look back at it, because you don't probably feel like an old guy, like a Grizzly veteran, but this is the fifth and final year for an OHL season. Does it go by really quick?
Yeah, I'm sure you hear it a lot when you talk to guys. Like, I know I talked to Steve Silas and Jake Cardwell last year, just as a couple guys, but those two are just examples. You hear it each and every year about how fast the careers go by, and I can surely attest to that. It feels like yesterday that I was first strapped on the skates back in London, and I mean, it's been a breeze. It's been a great 5 years with a whole lot of ups and downs, but definitely something that's built me into the person that I am, and something that has made me into the hockey player I am today as well.
Jake, so often people only see the meeting with the fans or the big glorious goals, but there's a lot of work to get where you are, and there's got to be a lot of times that you question, geez, is this worth it? I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm sore, I'm this, I'm that. What is the hardest thing about becoming an OHL player?
I think definitely, I mean, the workload is definitely huge. The commitment level that it takes to come to the rink every day and know that you're going to be there for 5 hours, and I think the fact that you know that you're going to get better at the end of the day is something you strive towards. I think probably one of the most difficult things would be the adversity that you deal with, coaches, teammates, players on the other team, ups and downs, slumps, you see those day in and day out, and I think this year has been definitely one of those years where it's full of ups and downs, and how you work through that is defines who you are as a player and who you are as a teammate. And I think that over my 5 years, that has probably been one of the toughest things, is just trying to learn how to deal with that adversity and become a better person, and in doing so help the team out in the long run.
For a lot of hockey players, right place, right time for the draft. They peak at the right time, or they get noticed by a certain scout and they get out there. Do you feel that there's lots of opportunity without necessarily going through the draft? Because we've seen players, especially here in Belleville, where guys have gone undrafted and then all of a sudden they're playing in the NHL, or they're a 12th rounder, in the O, and they can come through and be a successful player. Yeah,
definitely. You look at guys like Luke Judson, who ends up going to the CIS after his 5-year stint here in the OHL, and one of the best players I've ever played with. Didn't get a sniff at the NHL level, and now he's working his way up the ranks, and he's playing semi-professional there in San Francisco. And I look at somebody like that, and I look at myself as a player, and when I went down with that knee surgery in my second year in the OHL, it definitely took a hit, from the NHL ranks, and I mean, that's always something you keep in sight, and something that obviously at the end of the day, I think it's simple it's easy to say that each player wants to be a pro athlete, and I'm still striving towards that each and every day, and things are starting to present itself, but I mean, it's all up to the big man up top to see what's in store for me.
And I guess last question, you talk about some of the things that go on with a family. A lot of times people just live with their family. It's Monday to Friday. It's just the same old, same old. For a lot of players, they don't get a chance to see their family all that often. Yeah. Is it become more important because you don't get to see them when you do, just to have that time with them, because they were there for those 6 o'clock practices and everything to put you through at the beginning?
Yeah, definitely. It's you couldn't have said it any better. They honestly, my family's been there through the ups and the downs. A memory that comes to mind would be when I first found out that I had torn my ACL. Who was there with me when I just broke down, and it was my mother. She was there from then, and then who would have been there when a couple times where I scored the overtime winners and was able to celebrate and have a big smile on my face. My family was there too. So through thick and thin, they've been there. I mean, through the 5 years, and not only the 5 years in the OHL, they've been there through the minor hockey days. Like you said, they were there at the early morning practices. They were there to pick me up, and they've always been a shoulder to lean on, and I think they'll be there as I go forward. So.
And I guess last question, it was something you just mentioned a minute before the guy upstairs. For not many guys do you hear or express some belief in faith, some belief in something past this. It's certainly a difficult thing at your age, especially in the culture we're in, but how important is that in your life, and are there some guys on this team that you can kind of talk about those bigger questions with?
I'm glad you brought it up, because I can with no doubt say that my faith is the number one thing in my life, and that's a common thing that drives my family, the fact that we have a belief in God, that we know that everything happens for a reason, and like I said, I wouldn't be the person that I am today without the things that have gone on. I look at something like my knee surgery and look to where it's brought me. At the time I thought maybe reaching people, being able to talk about me as a person going through the OHL would be the best thing. When I had my injury, I found that being able to keep a smile on your face through the hardest times was something that allowed me to talk to more people than I ever would have been able to through the OHL. So I look at those things, and I look at a fellow teammate, Scott Simmons. We've been here for the last 3 years together. He owns a team. Him and I have just hit it off, and he's another shining example of what God can do. And you just look at him as an individual, as a leader, as a hockey player on this team, and the friendship that we've built over the last couple of years, and hopefully we'll be able to continue, is something that's pretty neat and something I cherish.
Another shot on the short side of Parasini.